Alrighty, we're back again today, knocking out a handful of little jobs. First up is the radiator. Just crack out the TIG, do a bit of alloy welding, start on the bottom two, see how I'm feeling. Hopefully good enough to make the top one look really nice. Top one's being ground off a heap, so compared to the bottom one it is a heap lower, so that'd be good. Should be easy enough. Just grab the welder out. Working at a bench, I don't have the height, so I'll probably just do on some oil boxes. Should be right, make it work. All on there. Dash 16 on the back, dash 6 down the bottom, ground down 2 little tabs for the fan shroud that won't be getting used anymore, and a dash 16 at the top. Not the prettiest welds, but doesn't look like there's any holes. And the last item just to finish the radiator cap is the radiator cap. Nice new G-Ready item, chuck it on, chuck the sticker in place, then the radiator can go back into storage. I swear it's the little details like nice fresh cap, just to finish off the front of the bay. Actually annoys the hell out of me that they've welded the lugs on the top of here for the fan shroud, but I don't want to repolish the top so they can stay there. If they really annoy me later on, I'll deal with them. But for now, the radiator is done, ready to go in the car. It's a pretty good feeling. On to the next little job. Hot day in Melbourne, so I guess it's a kind of inside job. Got the garage door down. Decided it's time to sort out the dash cluster. So I got the surround from Marco Motorsport. It's to suit a power tune dash, which I have got away, but I'm not going to put that quite in yet. All I need to wire up for that is the can high, can low anyway, so that's easy. It's just 2 wires and they screw into place. So I'll just do a couple of wires of extra length. I've got a very basic fuel gauge, 90 ohms full, 0 empty. Sorry, 0 full, 90 empty, and then a couple of indicators. So I'll mark out where I'm going to place the indicators in the gauge on here, cut some holes, place them through, and then make a basic loom and just put a Dutch connector on the end of it. That way when it's in the car I can work out what the power for the indicators will be, and I just have to run power to the gauge. And the dash runs its own little power plug anyway, so that's easy, that's independent of this. Just get into it, drill some holes, well mark everything out, then drill some holes. That should be the easy bit. The wiring loom should only take a couple of minutes as well. Well, I think things escalated a little bit more than I was expecting. Noticed a couple of little defects on the 3D printing for the outer casing, so I thought bugger it. Let's sand it back. Done it in 80, then 180. Really want to go over it in 240 before I put some paint on it. Don't have any paint that is quite suitable for what I want to do it to look like. And I don't have any 240, so it's going to have to wait. Unfortunately that means it has to wait for a few days, as it is Christmas tomorrow and I won't be able to get any supplies. Might still knock out the loom. Actually no, bugger it. I'd rather do it nice when everything's in situ in the casing, so I'll probably just move on to the next job. Give it a touch more sanding. It is pretty much good to go for the 180. It's looking nice and smooth. There was just a couple of little marks that burred up around the edges there, and you can just see the high and the low spots, but that's looking good. On to the next job. I feel like I'm kind of pulling at straws just to find jobs to keep going on, but I've made this little sub harness to go between the factory fuel sender unit, which is just one signal, one earth, to the Frenchie's Performance hanger. Might knock out the fuel pump one as well, the fuel pump powers and earth, start making that, work out where I'm going to set the fuses and all that jazz. Probably will. But yeah, at the moment just a little sub harness made with Dutch connectors on each end. Nice, basic, simple, easy to hook up. Nothing too special, just a bit of alloy plate, a couple of holes in it, 4 fuse box, and I'll have 3 relays mounted on it. A couple of nutserts there, pretty simple. Got to get a couple more relays, just the same brand as this, they work good. So this will be 2 relays, 1 for each fuel pump, and then 1 relay for the 4-wheel drive system, the Tesla pump. So nice and simple. There's 1 fuse spare, which I'll just chuck another fuse in, just in case one does blow. I can just switch the contacts over and it can keep going. must admit when I made this I imagined just mounting it on the side of the battery, something like that. But now I'm thinking I'll probably mount it horizontally up on the bottom of the parcel shelf somewhere. That way I can run the wires nice and tidily. It only needs one power supply, so that's nice and easy. Just going to pop this off and make sure there's no contacts on the back that can possibly touch. I'm just worried how that one's mounted through. Don't want anything to earth out, start a little fire in the back from doing something silly. Better be cautious and pull it apart again. But yeah, I reckon we'll mount it up underneath here somewhere. Just drill a couple of holes, chuck some nutserts, have it mounted nice and solid. It's a short time for you guys watching, but a couple of days later I'm back. Got some paper, got some paint, got the cluster surround all sanded down now in 240. Got a couple of scratches that look a little deeper on this side. We'll see how a light coating of paint does. Worst case, I'll give it a bit more of a sand down and go over it. I've also got a pile of plugs here so I can finish off the front loom. Still missing a couple which I've just ordered, some H3s for the main headlight bulbs. But it's okay, I can do those later. But I'm going to run the front body loom, just spread it around, and that way I can do the final length. So I've got the hole drilled over there, so I'll feed everything through that and get it sorted so I can have the front loom all complete. Well, she's got paint on it, man, I'm not happy. Gonna wait for it to dry, sand it all back again and try again. The paint just came out shit. Stuff I hadn't used before, but just trim paint for bumpers, which usually works really well for this sort of stuff, but yeah, it came out crap. Maybe it's too cold. The front body loom pretty much done. Just going to tape a couple of bits up. I've just got to add the earths on, and then I'll add some sheath over the top. Run it how it'll be running, there or thereabouts. Need to get feet clamped in place, so that should be nice and easy. I'll tidy that up now, so I've got some success. Got to have some small wins. Feeling pretty happy about how the front loom turned out. So it is all but done. Just need to add the H3 plug on both sides, so there's just a couple of loose wires. Got the red wires for the fans, and we just got a couple of signal wires there for the power steering pump. The side indicator at the moment, I'm not sure quite how long it is. I'm going to wait till everything's in situ before I run that. Easy enough to tidy up at the end. Otherwise the front loom is all done until it goes into the car. Looks tidy and a hell of a lot smaller than it was to begin with. Losing to the clusters left me a little bit more motivated to do other stuff. I got the fuel pump wiring just loosely sitting in there. So I got the Deutsch connector there, the grounds out to the sides, both individual to the end, and then I've got 3 terminals up here. They will connect up to 3 relays that will be mounted just up there. 2 for the fuel pumps and 1 for the full drive pump, and we've got the main power wire which is just left long, as that'll go to the battery. As for the full drive pump, sorry about shucking you around like that, but that'll run down around the top, round, and then there's a grommet somewhere in there. I'm going to try and get to it, and that'll run down to the full drive pump, as it only needs power and some signals. The rest is ground. It's nice and simple. Don't know if I'll do that now because I can't really be arsed lying on the ground, but we'll see what happens in the next 10 minutes. Didn't take too much to convince myself. Managed to get the wire down through the grommet. I'll probably rerun it through this little hole here, as I've got to take that bolt off anyway to run the ground to it for the fuel pumps. But you can see the covers on. I've used the factory grommet on the top of the housing there, and then new wires running through, along with the fuel level sensor which will run to the dash. And we've got the main power just with some masking tape, as I haven't chucked any heat shrink because I don't know the perfect length for that wire yet. It'll run over to this plug here. Still a couple of other wires to run to the pump, but I'll deal with them later. Starting to come together little jobs now. As for the cluster, I'm going to have a talk to my mate Corey, see what he recommends, as I've made a bit more of a mare of it, but I'll recover. nothing that can't be fixed. Well, we might finally have a good layer of primer on the dash cluster surround. It's actually looking not too bad now. Would have loved to have put all that together, but definitely not happening today. See how it dries tomorrow. Still 50-50 on how it's actually going to turn out. But that's that one done. Hoping tomorrow I will get these square bits put into the bumper, stapled in. Next job is that. As for the wiring, that's all done there. I do want to... What the hell is that wire? It looks like I'm pulling that tail light out, as it looks like there's a wire trapped. Fix that up. And then into the car. And sort out the wiper wiring. Drill a hole up in the firewall and the wideband will go through there. Then I'm going to chuck the mat back on the firewall, as that doesn't need to be off anymore. And the heater boxes can go back into place. Be good to get all that back in. Might even start mounting the ECU. See how we go.